Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Lunch and Learn Live. We are covering John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and today we will be discussing Chapter 9, which is the Law of the Ladder. So, let's dive into it. All right, Chapter 9, the Law of the Ladder. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. Doug Fireball says, Achievement to most people is something you do. To high achievers, it's something you are. All right, ambition without guidance. So John Maxwell tells this story about this guy named Jerry that he met, and he started his own business, and it didn't go well, running into the ground. Tried some network marketing stuff, didn't go real well, ended up running that into the ground as much as you can for that, and just really wasn't doing well. And then he met this guy named John. John is a successful business guy, not John Maxwell, but another guy named John. And so John confided in Jerry that in all of his business dealings, he has values and principles that he aligns every decision that he makes with. So Jerry was asking some questions, and then John whips out this book, and it's a homemade book that he had in his pocket. And it says it contains sayings taken from Proverbs and sorted by subject. John always carried it with him. Anytime I have a business problem or question, I go to this book and get the answers. All right? To be a success, you have to think like a success. Jerry sensed that if he were to be a successful businessman, he needed to learn to think like a successful businessman. The principle started to spread. So John and Jerry teamed up together, and they started working through these values, and Jerry learned how to have these great values in business, and they teamed up and started teaching other people to carry these same values and characteristics into their business. So they created this company called Lared. And so they ended up creating these round table groups, and so we'll just read a little bit about it. The groups were encouraged to set a time to meet each week. This is, I think, the first go around. This is in Guatemala. The groups were encouraged to set a time to meet each week, discuss principles along with characteristics and benefits, evaluate themselves on where they stood in that area, and commit to taking specific action to change and improve it. The following week, they'd hold each other accountable, there's that word again, for their commitments, and then discuss the next principle. Over the course of the year, a course of 1 year, they tackled these subjects: restraint, generosity, hard work, motives, honesty, patience, humility, productivity, dependability, temper, attitude, facts, goals, planning, boundaries, proper thinking, common sense, prosperity, emotions, sowing, direction, correction, conflict, pressure, criticism, judgment, confrontation, forgiveness, ethics, ownership, ambition, listening, co-signing, responsibility, debt, saving, developing people, understanding people, inspiring, and influence. As word spread in Colombia, they've moved now, and so they covered all of those in a year, saw significant growth in all of these people. Word started to spread about Lared. As the word spread in Colombia, representatives from national government asked Lared to teach the same characteristics, principles to 11,500 government employees. Jerry happily accepted. Then he found out these employees were prison guards. That was very intimidating. The prisons in Colombia were notoriously violent and corrupt. Incarcerated drug dealers and gang leaders would build suites for themselves in the prison and run their entire operation from there. Murders were a daily occurrence, and the administrators and guards at the prisons either went along with the corruption or they were just killed. A man with high integrity, a general with high integrity, wanted to change the culture of the prison. And he refused to turn a blind eye to corruption. The determination cost him his son's life, who was mistakenly killed by a hitman who thought that he was the general. Lared introduced character development and values to 143 prisons, holding 75,000 prisoners, and the culture began to change. A year and a half later, the murder rate went down dramatically, and there were reports that some prisoners actually said they wanted to be more like the guards. Certainly the prisons had not become pleasant places, but they had changed. Because character growth determines the height of personal growth, and without personal growth, you can never reach your potential. So everybody saw the character of these guards growing, and then they wanted to be like them, so they started carrying more influence. All right, the value of character. So there's a study done by two professors, and they studied a bunch of leaders and did a survey about leadership and what makes a great leader. And every time the lead answer was honesty. That is what people want to follow the most. Honesty, which is the core of good character, is the quality most enhances or damages personal reputations. The percentages vary, but the final ranking does not. From the first time we conducted our study, honesty has always been at the top of the list. If you cannot trust, and then he goes on to talk about honesty with others, but then honesty with yourself as well, and says if you cannot trust yourself, you won't ever be able to grow. Good character with honesty and integrity at its core is essential to success in any area of life. Without it, a person is building on shifting sand. So the whole idea of the law of the ladder is building a firm foundation to stand on. People often focus on their professional capacity without developing their character. It almost always costs them in the end. It costs them their personal relationships and often their career. He likened it to climbing a long extension ladder that lacks the proper support. The higher the person climbs, the more wobbly and unstable it becomes until the person finally falls. 99% of leadership failures are failures of character. So are 99% of all other failures. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. That is the law of the ladder. And then he's going to tell us about the rungs of his character ladder. He says he has to be extremely intentional about it. And so should we. Here are the ones of my character ladder that have empowered me to climb higher. Perhaps they will help you climb too. There are 5. Okay, 1. I will focus on being better on the inside than on the outside. Character matters. Our reputation comes from what others believe about our outside. Our character represents who we are on the inside. And the good news is that if we focus on being better on the inside than on the outside, over time, you will also become better on the outside. Why do you say that? The inside influences the outside. In Proverbs it says, as we think in our hearts, so we become. Coaches all the time teach the importance of the visualization of winning. Psychologists point out the power of self-image on people's actions. Doctors note the impact of positive attitude and hope on healing. What we believe really matters. We reap what we sow. What we do or neglect to do in the privacy of our daily lives impact who we are. If you neglect your heart, mind, and soul, it changes who you are on the outside as well as the inside, and not in a great way. The inside victories precede the outside victories. If you do the things you need to do when you need to do them, then someday you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them. Before you can do, you must be. The right motions outwardly with the wrong motives inwardly will not bring you lasting progress. Right outward talking with a wrong inward thinking will not bring you lasting success. Expressions of care on the outside with a heart of hatred or contempt on the inside will not bring you lasting peace. Getting the inside right must come first. Our inside development is totally within our control. We often cannot determine what happens to us, but we can always determine what happens within us. John Rohn said, "Character is a quality that embodies many important traits, such as integrity, courage, perseverance, confidence, and wisdom. Unlike your fingerprints that you were given at birth and cannot change, character is something that you create within yourself and must take responsibility to change. When we fail to make the right character choices within us, we give away our ownership of ourselves. We belong to others, to whatever or whoever gains control of us. Every day there's a battle from the outside for me to compromise or to surrender to them." There's this guy, he was a teenage millionaire phenomenon, Farrah Gray. He wrote a book called The Reallionaire, and the idea of the term is that it's someone who has discovered that there is more to money than having money. A person who understands that success is not about just being rich in your pocket. You have to be rich on the inside too. And then he talks about that's why all the teenage stars just don't make it, because they haven't built the character enough to withstand what they're holding. All right, 2. I will follow the golden rule. People matter. Here is a simple rule of thumb guide for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you, and then grab the initiative to do it for them. It prompts you to focus on other people. It leads you to be empathetic. It encourages you to take the high road. And if you stick to it, especially when things are difficult, you can't help but become the kind of person that other people want to be around. After all, in the end, all of our relationships, we are either pluses or minuses in the lives of others. The golden rule is to help us remain a plus. 3. I will teach only what I believe in. Passion matters. Do you know what they call a speaker or a teacher who teaches what he doesn't believe in? A hypocrite. Borrowed beliefs have no passion, therefore no power. Individuals who lack principles and passion become beige people. I do not want to become like one of those. I bet you don't either. I definitely don't want to be a beige person. That sounds terrible. Number 4, I will value humility above all virtues. Perspective matters. J.M. Barrie observed, "The life of every man is a diary in which he means to write one story but writes another. And his humblest hour is when he compares the volume as it is with what he hoped to make." I think anyone who is honest with himself realizes that he falls short of where he could or should be in life. Unlike what Tom Hanks says as Forrest Gump, life is not like a box of chocolate. It's more like a jar of jalapenos. What we do today might burn our butts tomorrow. We don't intend to make mistakes and to fall short, but we do. We're all just one step away from stupid. We love Maxwell. Andy Stanley says, "I've concluded that while nobody plans to mess up their lives, the problem is that few of us plan not to. That is, we do not put necessary safeguards in place to ensure a happy ending." So, how do we do that? Remembering the big picture. John F. Kennedy had it posted on a plaque in the White House. It said, "Oh God, thy sea is so great and thy boat is so small." So if John F. Kennedy can remember that we're so small in this great big world and we just play a small part, then so can we. Recognize that everyone has weaknesses. I develop relationships with good people who will speak the truth to me, and I set up accountability, there's that word again, systems in my life. Big fan of accountability. Be teachable. Have a beginner's mindset. They think of themselves as apprentices and not experts, and as a result have a humble, teachable posture. They try to see things from others' perspectives. They are often open to new ideas. They possess a thirst for knowledge. They ask questions and know how to listen. And they gather as much information as possible before making a decision. I admire such people and try to be like them. Be willing to serve others. Few things are better for cultivating character and developing humility as serving others. Be grateful. A Chinese proverb says that those who drink the water must remember those who dug the well. Very few people do things all on their own. Nobody does things all on their own. Even if they think they do, they don't. Confucius asserted, humility Confucius asserted, humility is the solid foundation of all the virtues. In other words, it paves the way for character growth, and that sets us up for personal growth. These things are definitely connected. Number 5, I strive to finish well. Faithfulness matters until the day I die. And I endeavor to do that by doing the right thing and becoming a better person every day. Do the right thing and you will feel right. Do the wrong thing and you feel bad. If you take control of your behavior, your emotions will fall into place. Tony Evans says, if you want a better world composed of better nations, inhabited by better states, filled with better counties, made up of better cities, comprised of better neighborhoods, illuminated by better churches, populated by better families, then you have to start by being a better person. That's always where it starts, with me and with you. If you focus on personal character, it will make the world a better place. The stronger your character, the greater your growth potential. If we desire to grow and reach our potential, we must pay more attention to our character than to our success. It means increasing our capacity as human beings. It means maintaining core integrity, even when it hurts. It means being who we should be, not just being where we want to be. It means maturing our souls. All right. A physician and author said he was born as mud. This is talking about a successful person or the success of a person. He was born as mud and died marble. This gives us an interesting metaphor to look at various lives. Some people are born as mud and remain mud. Sadly, some are born as marble and die mud. Some are born mud and dream of marble, but remain mud. But many persons of high character have been born mud and died marble. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Wouldn't we like to die marble? And then there's the applying section. You can check those out. I have 2 quotes that I heard over the last week that I liked, and one of them was from, I think, Alex Hormozy. And it says, he's an achiever, and so he talks about building business and stuff, which is one of the reasons I like him. But he says, if you were a better you, everything you do would be better. So it's kind of like focusing on who you are, and then your actions will follow. So I think it goes with the law of the ladder. And then the second was from church this Sunday. We had a guest speaker, I can't remember his name, but he said, if we get the inside stuff right by intention, we get the outside stuff right by accident. So again, focusing on the inside and the outside stuff will follow. So that is all we have today for the law of the ladder. I hope that you build yourself personally on a solid foundation and that you don't topple over. All right, love you all. Be blessed.